Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about Mars going into Libra. Mars will be in Libra from October 3rd till November 16th. And I always talk about Mars as being the major trigger of events. That's why I always make it a point to tell you where Mars is. And also what aspects it's making, because this Mars in Libra is really important. You're going to want to know about everything that it's doing for this, 6 weeks that it is in Libra. So before I continue on, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. You will get all of my predictions delivered to your email address absolutely free. Every day I have a prediction, so you won't want to miss it. Go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, see all the things that I'm offering. But most of all, I have something really, really exciting coming up here. I'm about to create a Patreon page, and with this, you're going to get exclusive information from me that you couldn't get anywhere else at a discount. It's going to be affordable to everyone, so pay attention. I will let you know when that is launched, and that's coming very, very soon. So, Mars being in Libra, once again from October 3rd till November 16th. And during this time, when it first enters into Libra, it's still in the nakshatra called Chitra. This is a very important nakshatra for Mars because it's ruled by Mars. So in other words, Mars may be in Libra, which deals with pretty much balance, peace, connection, relationship. But don't kid yourself. While it is in the nakshatra Chitra, it's intense. Because this has a Mars-like quality. And the day that it goes into Libra, Mars conjoins Ketu. This is really, really intense. And I want you to know that it represents maybe some kind of attack, some kind of major event that is going to be a big crisis. Ketu and Mars are first-rate malefics, and together they say in Vedic astrology that Mars is likened to Ketu and Ketu is likened to Mars, and actually they both indicate terrorism, attacks. Put them together, it's intense. But let me remind everyone, they are together, they come together and conjoin every 2 years, and we don't have a crisis like what you may think. But sometimes it does. And the times that Mars came together in Libra before represented a crisis in the stock market and the economy. It all went down. So watch for this. This is going to be very temperamental in Pisces, especially since it comes into Pisces on that day with Ketu. And remember this, when Mars is conjunct Ketu, it's aspecting Aries. And that's where Rahu and Jupiter and Uranus are. So Mars, as it aspects the sign of Aries, and it rules that sign, really heats things up. For what? Violence, temperamental events happening. This is crazy time. You're going to see one thing after another is going to start happening with this Mars in Libra. Now, I want to go over some of the aspects because this whole time period, Mars is going to be heating things up. For example, around October 8th, Mars will be in a square to Pluto, which is intense. This can deal with violence, but mainly it deals with issues around being controlled. Control and manipulation is really what Pluto's about. Mars squaring that, you're going to feel a sense of this. By October 13th, Mars is going to be in an exact trine to Saturn, which connects Mars to Saturn. And this can be a setback, major issues happening again, suddenly and unexpectedly. But remember, we have that solar eclipse that's happening on the 14th. And by the 13th, the day before that solar eclipse, Mars is going to go into the nakshatra. It's going to leave Chitra, which it's really intense in Chitra, but it's going to go into Swati. And it will remain in Swati from October 13th till November 1st. Swati is an intense nakshatra in Libra. It is ruled by Rahu. So you can only imagine that this is intensity. But in this nakshatra, it actually deals with communications and the internet, the sway and the flow of people being very disruptive and saying things that they want you to believe. Don't believe what you listen to your gut knowing, because I'm looking at a time of deceptive communications, because Swati and it being in Libra pretty much tries to make peace with people, but in Swati it can be a little bit manipulative. Let me just tell you, it's ruled by Rahu. And then we have that solar eclipse, which this solar eclipse on the 14th, I think this has a lot to do with the markets tumbling, because Mars and Ketu will be together, but they're in the second house from where this eclipse actually occurs. Mars is a trigger of these events around the time of this eclipse. Watch the 14th as everything really starts to change. This is big change and disruption. By October 15th, Mars will be conjunct the moon with Ketu. This is a very intense time. People will be very argumentative. There will be no peace. There can even be a strike or an attack somewhere in the world. So watch when it comes to war and peace. This is important. And October 19th is very interesting. Let me explain why. That particular day, actually it is the 18th and the 19th, we're going to have the Sun, Mercury, and Ketu are going to be all together on the same degree. And they actually kind of transit, the Sun and Mercury will transit together. The Sun and Mercury are exactly conjunct. This is a conjunction, a superior conjunction, meaning Mercury is moving tip-top speed, is the opposite time of when Mercury is retrograde and it conjuncts the Sun. So you might be thinking, oh, Mercury's combusts the Sun, but actually it is that Mercury and the Sun are always pretty tight together or in the same sign. So it doesn't have the same effects of other planets being combust. But what I do want you to know, this is intense and a big change, because the Sun coming into Libra, the Sun becomes debilitated. Although it will start to exchange with Venus, so much is happening. What I can tell you is around the 18th and the 19th, you're going to see radical shifts and changes everywhere. Things are going to be turned upside down. What you thought was one way is going to flip to the other. And the whole time, the Sun is starting to come together with Mars. Yes, you can say Mars is about to be combust coming up here, but it is intense. And let's move all the way. Let's see, Mars will shift out of Swati November 1st. So November 1st, Mars is going to go into the nakshatra Vishaka. And it will be in Vishaka all the way till November 20th. And this is after Mars will move out of Libra. But starting November 1st till Mars completes its journey through the sign of Libra, it will be in Vishaka. Vishaka means the undefeated. It means it goes after what it wants while Mars is in Vishaka. Let me just tell you, I think it's going to be a little bit more intense when Mars is in Scorpio, though, after Mars leaves Libra November 16th and goes into Scorpio. But wow, this Vishaka is going to get what it wants. But going to the lunar eclipse, this is truly important. And that's October 28th. And the reason why I say this lunar eclipse is important, because Mars is exactly opposed Jupiter at 17 degrees of Libra. Jupiter will be 17 degrees of Aries. But then they're exactly conjunct. Mars is going to be conjunct Mercury, which means arguments, confrontations of disagreements, and sort of riots. I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of protesting. Lots is happening, protesting, riots, strikes, things of that nature, while Mars is in Libra, but opposing Jupiter. But when it comes together the very next day on the 29th, and it's truly there on the 28th while we have the lunar eclipse. So the sun and the moon are opposed and tied up with Mars. We have the sun is with Mars, and it is with Mercury, and it is with K2. But during this lunar eclipse, we have the moon oppose the sun with Aries, with Jupiter and Rahu and Uranus. What a crazy tie-up this is. We're going to find all sorts of striking and outburst of energy and people being in conflict. There can even be some kind of attacks at this time. By November 13th, before we have Mars move into Scorpio, we're going to have a new moon, which will be in Libra. And during this time as well, we're going to have the sun nearing Mars. Now, yes, we can say Mars is starting to be combust, but let me just say this. Whenever I have seen the sun come together with Mars, there are angry outbursts. Mars rules anger. Mars rules violence, anger, violence, disruption, weapons, fire. I hope you're still watching. You come all the way to the end of this video. If you don't, you're gonna miss a lot, because Mars will come together November 15th, 16th, and 17th with the sun. And Mars will be at 29 degrees of Libra, but by the 17th, it will come together with the sun 0 to 1 degree of Scorpio. And this is where the anger that really pours out could be something of an attack, of injustice, but anger, weapons, violence are the name of the game with Mars coming together, because it is combust. You'd think it'd be weak, but it actually fights back in a way where the sun comes together with Mars. This is actually Cassimi. It means that when a planet is exactly with the sun, then the sun puts out the rays of light of that planet, which will be Mars, which can deal with violence. So, with all of this at hand, it is time to keep your cool, to distance yourself from those that are violent, and send them energy of peace, because this is what we need, and this is what we're not getting. We need more peace in the world. We need to compromise. We need to come together. We need to admit when we're wrong sometimes. Well, really all the time. But I don't find that to be the way of the world. And that's the issue and problem. Because this doesn't help where the world is going. It actually causes more problems. And we need to find solutions to the problems we already have. So the world is being really explosive during this time. So I want you to watch this time, but be careful about your money and your investments, because this is the big wake up I've been talking about with the financial markets for a long time. So with that, I think I'll close. So if you would like more information on me, you want to know about my Patreon and get my new newsletter, go to my website, galacticcenter.org. As well as if you want to learn Vedic astrology, I have classes going on all the time. You can join anytime, and it's all self-paced. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.